Dael Clark for Village Academy Schools. This is a debate and speech piece, and I'm here interviewing Jim Rupp, the president of Columbus Percussion. Now, I've got about 10 to 15 questions for you, basically just spanning over what it requires to be in this field of business. So question one would be, what do you typically do on a daily basis, and what does the average employee do on a daily basis?
Well, my job is to make my employees' jobs easier, to give them a goal to shoot towards and to give them the tools necessary to do it and then get out of their way. So, it could be my shipper, how can we do this more efficiently, what do you need, or it could be, my manager, how are we doing on goals, we have a new website right now, where are we on that, and what do you need, and we kind of collaborate. So again, I try to give them goals to shoot towards and everything they need to do it.
All right, a follow-up question to that is, what does it take to stay noticed and popular in this world today as a drummer?
As a player? Well, to me, business as a player is the very same thing as business as a drum company or as a bolt manufacturer. You've got your product, you've got to market that product, and then you've got to take care of business with that product. So as a drummer, your product is your playing. Can I play styles? Can I go in and do a jazz gig or a rock gig? Can I read charts? And then you've got to market that product. I teach at Ohio State in the jazz studies, and I'm all over my guys. I don't care how good you are on the fourth floor of the music building. You've got to go out and meet people. You've got, it's a people business. So you've got to go out, go to the sessions, go hear guys play, get a website, market yourself, YouTube, get the ways. I had some wonderful senior guy last year who really got on it, and he's busy all over town now doing all kinds of niche stuff like that. And then you got to take care of business, return phone calls. If the gig starts at 8 o'clock, you show up at 7 and set up on time, and you don't take care of business, that word spreads fast. Guys won't hire you.
Thank you. Okay. What do you define as a good day in this line of business as a drum salesman?
At the store? Well, obviously we look at sales numbers. How is our overall trends, and are we selling well? But and we don't look at necessarily a day. We look at the bigger picture. Because we may have one day it's a little softer and one day is incredibly strong. So we look at a week. So if we feel like we're making progress and we're working on our goals, which like right now might be the website and revamping our inventory computer system. If we're constantly making progress towards that goal, then that's a good day.
All right. So, what qualifications would you define as necessary to excel in the arena of being a player, other than the possible reading of the music and the playing of different fields? Are there different qualifications that a drummer would need?
Yeah, again, people skills. I mean, we'll do people skills first because that's huge. The people. Nobody likes to work with people they don't like, or they're not comfortable with on stage. So if they like you make them feel comfortable. Big ego. There's too many guys that are great players. They're not going to hire somebody like that. But probably most importantly is just your playing. Yeah, do you know the essence of a style? Can you go in and play, a good simple rhythm and blues groove and make it feel good? Can you go do a country groove and make it feel good? I think sometimes younger players get more obsessed with chops and the icing on the cake, when the guys that work are going to be the guys that can play all these basic feels and play musically and play dynamics and do what's required to be a pro, as opposed to very few guys get hired to play drum solos. How's that?
Okay. I guess that sums it up for
yeah.
now. So, what keeps you coming back?
Oh, it's, we're in a cool business because our customers, the big bulk of our customers are repeat customers. We know them. They're all drummers. They're passionate about music and drums just like we are. So we love dealing with them. They're all friends. And the other part of it is, especially this time of year, this is December, we're dealing with moms and dads who are buying their first drum set, and I go back to buying my first drum set. So I get a kick out of just seeing that mom go out with that first drum set. And it's a good little set of drums, and, we set it up and tune it and take care of them. And, I love that because I can remember that taking home for my first kid.
So, sort of following up that, the parents of drummers, do they understand what they're getting into with the noise and the constant practicing? Is that something you will warn them about, or just sort of let them figure it out on their own?
Well, I guess I don't see it as that big of a hurdle. I mean, you know, if you've got like a tiny little home and you know, thin walls and the bedroom's right next to an apartment, sure, there are occasions when that could be a problem. But I think the vast majority of our customers, they know the drums are, you know, they can be a louder musical instrument, and you know, you put some carpet down and maybe a little insulation on the basement walls and stuff like that. You can get around most of that. But there's a little kidding that goes on once in a while sometimes when mom and dad see that kid. But I think by and large, they're just thrilled that they're home and they're enjoying music and they're down there and they know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything that ever gets to you about this job as a drum salesman that just sometimes gives wear and tear?
Sometimes, I mean, it's not often, but I guess sometimes, you know, my accountant when I first started business said, Jim, there's 3 things you can do in your business. That you can provide the product, you can provide the service, you can provide the best price. Pick 2. Well, obviously, you know, we really try to provide really high-quality instruments. Mm-hmm. We're all pros, and, you know, not everybody has to own a Cadillac, but I think you have to have something reasonable quality. Mm-hmm. And a service was a no-brainer. I mean, the stores I went into, either drum shops or music stores or anything else, would be, you know, the Apple store, whatever. I want service. And I think we do a good job of being very competitive on our pricing in this day with the web and Google, you know. But sometimes I think people become obsessed over, you know, $15 on a $2,000 drum set, and you feel like saying, you don't, but there are times when you feel like, you know, come on here, you know, we put this kit together, or we tuned it up for you, we'll match the price. But to me, there's more than, whatever, more to life than $15.
Yeah.
How's that?
All right. How did you get started as a drummer, first of all, and then as going into the drumming business?
Well, as a drummer, I actually remember the parade in front of my house in Canton, Ohio, and, you know, 3rd grade, the music teacher came down to Mrs. Green's, you know, 3rd grade class and said, who wants to play an instrument? And I said, I want to play drums. And I enjoyed drums, and I would play along with my dad's radio. We didn't even have a stereo in the house as a kid. But then my high school band director, when I was in the jazz ensemble, I think my sophomore year, took me to see the Count Basie band. And that's when I said, I want to do that. And I will tell you that I can still, I mean, I'd been on the road with some, you know, big-time people at one point, but then I'm in New York, and I'm backing jazz singer Diane Shure, and we had 3 days with the Count Basie band in New York. And I got to tell you, I still get chills thinking of that. Even though I'm not a kid, I'm probably in my mid-30s or late 30s, and I'd done a lot of, you know, pressure gigs, and I felt pretty comfortable. But I sat in that chair where a lot of my heroes had sat, and a lot of legendary players. That still gives me goosebumps, and it was a treat.
Has this been your job throughout your entire life?
No, yes, for the other part of your question. No, I've been on the road for quite a few years playing and everything, and my wife, or actually my girlfriend at the time, we're talking about getting married and maybe having kids, and I love playing, but I really didn't see myself, you know, like now, we have a farm up in Morrow County, you know, I like getting out, and I couldn't see moving to New York, and I like Columbus. Good work here, so I said maybe I can kind of balance these 2 sides, you know, the player side and you know, the business side, and so that's kind of how the shop started. But as a matter of fact, my partner Bob Reithoff is now full-time, you know, percussion, has been for years at Capital University. He was my partner, same thing. His gig at that time was part-time at Capital, and he thought, well, he could part-time gig and part-time store. I'm part-time player and part-time store. So when I went on the road, you know, he could run things, and it's really worked out. You know, he's actually no longer a partner, but we've remained great friends, and it worked for a lot of years.
All right. Okay, I think this will be the last question. Starting out, what is your favorite part of the job, as either one, and what do you get the most out of this job as a drummer?
Well, I love people. I love talking to people about gear and drums, and you know, send some guy out with the perfect ride cymbal is, you know, I enjoy that, and so I like that part of the job. and you know, it's a balance. I mean, it's a different kind of pleasure than playing the drums. But you know, it gives some stability to my life. It keeps the staff. Everybody who's a drummer keeps the staff of drummers balanced in their life. They can play, but they have, you know, an income and maybe some health insurance and stuff like that. So and I think we're a resource for the whole drumming community. That, you know, kind of a center of activity that helps drumming around the whole region. So that's
all right.
Fortunate there.
One last question is, what traits do you look for in employees? As in, do you have certain ones that specialize in certain drumming types, in certain cymbals or kick drums or something like that?
We have maybe an expertise, like somebody, you know, like our repair shop guy, have a little different job description. But number one is personal integrity. You know, can I trust what you're going to say? Will you do it? And you know, that kind of thing, obviously. Second of all, people skills. You know, people want to come in and they want to deal with people they like. It's no different than, like I said, being a musician. You know, first thing I remember being on the road with like Maynard Ferguson's band, and somebody was leaving, and the guys were passing around, you know, CDs of, hey, this guy played tenor in the 1 O'Clock band at North Texas. Here's a tape. He's a great guy. You'll love having him on the band. Because, you know, you're on a band bus with these guys, you know, 7 days a week, how many hours a day for months on end sometimes. So you don't want an idiot. Well, same thing here. We work together, and, you know, you got to be the kind of guy you like to work with. And so, you know, personal integrity, people skills. And then, you know, it can depend. If it's my repair tech, well, what kind of repair? Although Chris has been here for almost 20 years.
Wow.
So, but, you know, originally, what kind of technical skills do you have? It's a computer guy. What kind of computer skills do you have? Accountant. So it can vary according to the position. But those two, hands down, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to sum it up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. Appreciate it.
And that was Jim Rupp, president of Columbus Percussion.